Hello everyone, Dr. Shannon PT here with another episode of Need to Know in 5. I decided to change things up a little bit today because many of us parents are trying to manage the new schedule change of trying to work from home while also caring for our children. So I decided to focus our Need to Know on 5 today on a little bit of information regarding ergonomics of being a parent. The first thing I want to talk about is just the topic of ergonomics in general. A lot of people think that the word ergonomic means these set specifications of how we're supposed to sit and move throughout the day. And that's a little bit of what ergonomics is, but on a broader perspective, ergonomics is really just more about suggestions and really understanding more about how your body works and how your body moves in the different positions that it's in throughout the day. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today, is just kind of give you guys some examples and suggestions to give you a little bit more information about ergonomics in general and what you can do to try to maintain a little bit better ergonomics when you're balancing these situations of working at home and also caring for your little one. First, we're going to start off by talking about biomechanics in general. What is that? That's being aware of how our body moves in space, how we move maybe when we're sitting on the floor, transitioning from sitting to standing, walking, sitting in general. So all of these different things have an ergonomic approach to doing them. Even something as simple as moving from kneeling to a standing position and getting off the floor, you can do in a variety of different ways, but there are preferred methods to do certain biomechanics for that transition. When we're working at home now and trying to manage the children, we're in a completely different workspace than maybe what we're used to in our office. Maybe our office is set up really nice, we've got a great desk and everything set up perfectly for our workspace. But as we know, if we're working from home, we don't always have the benefits of that ideal ergonomic, perfect workspace setup. So it's important to keep in mind that we can still be very aware of our different ergonomics and body mechanics and body positions even when we're working at home and we're not in that perfect desk space. So say for example, maybe you're sitting on the floor playing a game with your kids and you have to check an email and you have your laptop there. Instead of just grabbing the laptop, putting it in your lap and then slouching over and creating what's called a kyphotic or a C posture to reach your keyboard, even doing something as simple as grabbing a pillow and putting it under your laptop to have you sit up in a little bit more erect position can make a big difference. So these are little things that are very easy to do or to modify throughout your day, but you just have to be aware of those different positions and stop and take a moment and think about what you can do to set them up a little bit differently to maintain your body mechanics and your posture as much as you can while you're in these different positions of working at home. The next thing we're going to talk about is lifting. This is something that we really need to be aware of, whether you're lifting a baby or you're lifting a toddler. There's a lot of different things to consider when you're doing different lifting positions. And so with lifting, you always want to make sure that your shoulders and your hips are over one another and it keeps your spine in a really good straight alignment. This is important because then you can lift with your legs and not your back muscles. And so that's something that you want to keep in mind when you're lifting. You always want to try to get low and use your legs and not be bending at your back to lift. The other thing you also want to keep in mind when you're lifting is to not be rotating from side to side. If you need to turn, you lift with your legs and then you actually turn your whole body to the side to lower it down. You don't want to be bending and twisting at the same time because that's a really good way to hurt your back. So one motion at a time is the way you want to think about it. Lift and then move your feet to turn to put something back down in place. The other thing where you need to keep in mind with lifting is not only if you're lifting with your legs, but maybe you're lifting an infant, which is obviously a lot smaller and doesn't weigh as much as a toddler does, but you still need to keep in mind some body mechanics when you're lifting an infant. And so one of the things that I often see is people complain of pain in their hands, and particularly this part of their thumb, because a lot of times what we'll do is we'll pick up a child like this and try to kind of put like their armpit or axilla area in this part of our hands. Well, what sometimes happens, especially when you have a child that starts to get older and is already able to control their trunk and head movements, so we're looking at a little one starting to be 6 months plus of age, is that the moving back and forth can sometimes put some unnecessary stress on our thumbs here and cause some pain pain and discomfort there. So a way that you can modify your lifting technique is, if you do have an older baby, again, one that is about 6 months plus old, has good trunk and head control, you can actually slide your whole hand under and have their armpit or axilla area actually resting more on your forearms, instead of putting all that body weight and pressure in between your hands and trying to control it. So that's another really good way to kind of modify how you're lifting a child to protect your hands, but still give them that support and encouragement they need when you need to lift them up.